The story starts with a dragon fighting against the legendary warrior Gaia. Then Gaia charged at the huge dragon and he caused a gigantic explosion with his magic power. He defeated the dragon with ease and looked at his crest. The man was dissatisfied because his strength was reaching his limits. He owned the first seal that had focused on production. So the legendary warrior decided to create a reincarnation to get to the fourth crest. Below we see the legendary warrior reborn with the crest of failure. He was traveling with a merchant and could sense a monster. Suddenly, a huge tiger appeared, and the boy Matthias defeated the monster. Then he arrived in the capital, and he went into a weapon store. An adventurer wanted to have a broken sword repaired. Meanwhile, Matthias was impressed with the high-quality swords. Then he listened to the girl's conversation, and she needed a sword for the entrance exam to the magic school. The blacksmith said that the sword's enchantment is difficult to create. Matthias then offered to help the girl with casting an enchantment on her sword. And the blacksmith said that he will fail to create an enchantment with his weak crest. The girl accepted the support of Matthias. After that he met Alma and introduced himself as Matthias Hildesheim. Then Alma thanked Matthias and he blushed. Suddenly Alma's friend Ruri showed up and Matthias immediately had a crush on the cute girl. Ruri also instantly fell in love with Riz boy Matthias, and she was nervous about speaking to him. After that, the blacksmith brought the repaired sword and Matthias started the enchantment on the sword of Ruri. So the sword was enchanted and everyone was shocked, because normally the process takes much longer. Ruri got her new sword and she unintentionally cut through the table with her sword. The swordsmith was impressed by Matthias' enchantment skills, and he couldn't believe that he just used an ordinary enchantment spell to apply the sword. However, the swordsmith thought that Matthias wanted to be an enchanter, and he respected Matthias. Followed we see Matthias taking the magic school entrance exams. He met his crush Ruri again, and also Alma showed up too. After that, the exam started, and Ruri managed to cut the examiner's sword. So Ruri managed to defeat the examiner, and she passed the test. Ruri then thanked Matthias for enchanting her sword. Suddenly he was called to his fight. Then a knight appeared. He was a friend of his father and heard about the enchantment of Matthias. So they started to prepare for their fight against each other, and Matthias immediately saw a chance to win. Then Matthias attacked the knight, and the knight was caught off guard by Matthias' sword skills. Matthias managed to defeat Gil, the leader of the Knight's Order, and the two girls were happy for Matthias' victory. Later they had to show their magic, and Ruri cast a spell to hit the targets with fire magic. Matthias was amazed that people use spells these days, because with wordless magic, the spells would be much stronger. So Ruri managed to pass the test with her crest of glory, and Matthias was aware that his crest is considered the weakest in his new life. Then Matthias had to hit the targets, but the teacher underestimated him because he had the weakest crest. However, Matthias used a powerful magic. He could use wordless magic. So he shot dangerous fireballs with his magic, and he destroyed the entire practice field. Matthias and his friends were admitted to the magic school, and they met the headmaster Edward. Edward welcomed the students to the second magic school, and wished the students every success in their studies. After his short speech, Matthias was suddenly asked into his office. Matthias was nervous, and he thought he would get a penalty for the destroyed practice field. Followed Edward was aware of Matthias' strong powers, that he didn't have to recite the spells like the other students. As a result, Matthias was asked if he could teach teachers and students to use wordless magic. Matthias was willing to help Edward, but they had a problem with the First Royal Academy. They are a school full of nobles, and they have banned the using of wordless magic, because they consider it for weak. Then Edward said that he would like to teach wordless magic to the second school with the help of Matthias. As a result, they could lift the ban and revive wordless magic in their world. Then Matthias was asked if he wanted to support Edward in his plan, so Matthias accepted to help the principal, and everyone was happy. In the days that followed, magic classes began, and the teacher said that Matthias would teach the students wordless magic. Then Matthias jumped in the air and he casted wordless magic, so he immediately destroyed 3 targets with his wordless magic. After that, Teacher Geysar showed that he can also use wordless magic now, and he destroyed a target with fire magic. He said that everyone can learn the wordless magic like Matthias. The students then learned wordless magic and Alma showed him her using of wordless magic. Then he also looked at Ruri's progress. She was out of energy, but she was fascinated by the wordless magic. Meanwhile, Matthias wondered why the wordless magic was forgotten. Then Matthias wanted to transfer some magic to Ruri, and she received new energy. Ruri got new energy, and she was also available to cast wordless magic. A few months passed, and the first school had a battle tournament against the First Royal Academy. Matthias learned that the Royal Academy has students who are referred to as magical chosen ones. Suddenly, Matthias sensed a person who had 10 times more magic power than he did. He learned that demons cannot be conquered by humans. Then Matthias went to the battlefield and he was surprised that the demons survived. Also, the noble students from the First Royal Academy looked down on Matthias. They said that Matthias is weak and will lose. Matthias could sense that his arrogant opponent was a demon, and he got angry. However, the fight started, and Matthias instantly defeated them with wordless magic spells. The demon got angry, and Matthias noticed that he could also use wordless magic. Matthias attacked the demon and tried to decapitate him. Then his opponent dodged and they fought each other. Matthias understood why the world has changed now. Therefore, Matthias proved that his opponent is a demon, and he revealed his true form. The demon tried to escape, and he attacked Matthias. Then the demon wanted to fly away, but Matthias managed to kill the demon with his sword. Followed then, we see Gaia cast a reincarnation spell. 1,000 years later, he was reborn as a son of the Hildesheim family. Following, we see the present again, and Ruri was glad that Matthias was able to defeat the demon. Later, Matthias was shocked to learn that no human had been able to defeat a demon in the last 100 years. Then he had an audience with the king, and he introduced himself as Matthias Hildesheim to the king. The king wanted to reward Matthias with a piece of land, but he didn't want such a reward. He just wanted to get stronger, and the king offered to give him a magic sword with 2 enchantment as a reward. Matthias immediately noticed that he recently enchanted the offered sword at the blacksmith days before. As a result, the king noticed Matthias's reaction and he asked what Matthias would like to have. However, Matthias asked permission to explore a dungeon, and he would like to have the right to keep the materials found in the dungeon. Matthias knew about the rare items in the dungeon, and he feared the current age was unaware of the treasures within. The king allowed Matthias to explore the dungeon and keep the materials he found. Matthias learned that the magical chosen ones of the kingdom are all gone for now. In addition, the king had a suspicion that demons had been infiltrating the humans for centuries. Matthias was amazed by the information, because in his previous life as Gaia, he had almost wiped out all demons. Then the king learned that there was a great danger from the demons. Also, Matthias knew that the demons will not attack individually, and he believes that they will attack the kingdom as a large group. Following, Matthias suggested a solution to protect the kingdom. He told the king that all they have to do is create a barrier, as a result that will stop the demons. After that, he was given permission to freely use the king's magic items. Matthias looked for useful items for creating the barrier. Suddenly, Matthias discovered one of his swords made in his previous life as Gaia. He was surprised to find one of his old orichalcum swords. Then he found another item from his previous life. He was able to get a powerful necklace. In the days that followed, Matthias supported the other students in learning wordless magic. Everyone made fast progress, and his friends knew about the barrier. After that, Matthias wanted to explore a dungeon. He asked Alma and Ruri if they wanted to form a party with him. They wanted to party with him, but they were afraid that they would be a burden to Matthias. Matthias said they are not a burden, and he showed Alma how to cast magic arrows. Alma was impressed, and Matthias encouraged her. As a result, Alma accepted to form a party with him, and Ruri also wanted to go to the dungeon with her crush Matthias. Additionally, Matthias learned that she would like to use enchantment magic. So Ruri was already looking forward to their time together as a party. Matthias's new party was formed, and they decided to seek out the dangerous dungeon. Then we see Matthias and his friends in the dungeon. Suddenly he wanted to show them something, and he showed the 2 girls a dungeon monster. Matthias had the idea of using the monster as a target. Then Alma tried to fill her arrow with magic. She successfully managed to infuse magical power into her arrows. Alma was happy, and Matthias gave her more advice. She immediately tried to follow his advice and shot an arrow. The magic arrow changed direction while flying and hit another monster. Then Alma went off to fight against monsters in the dungeon. Ruri then wanted to learn more about enchantment from Matthias, but Matthias said it was still too difficult. So he wanted to teach her the basics of enchantment magic first. Matthias wanted to teach her to produce her own weapons first. Suddenly Matthias destroyed a wall with his magic. He explained to Ruri that the whole dungeon consists of valuable resources. Followed then, he explained Ruri the process of creating a weapon. Ruri was happy to learn from Matthias and thanked him. Meanwhile, Alma diligently practiced using magic on her arrows. She could now defeat multiple monsters with just one attack. Then she discovered Alma. She managed to make her own weapons now. She then made new equipment for Alma, and her friend was grateful for the new equipment. Then Matthias wanted to reach the 10th floor of the dungeon, so they were going deeper into the dungeon. Suddenly a bunch of monsters appeared. Ruri and Alma fought against them, so they managed to defeat the monsters with ease. On the further way, more and more monsters appeared, and Ruri supported Alma in the fight. Matthias's party leveled up quickly, and the necklace from his previous life doubled their experience points in the dungeon. Suddenly a killer dog appeared. Matthias said that he is very dangerous. Then they fought the killer dog, and they successfully defeated him together. Matthias was impressed by the two cute girls and he praised them. Then Matthias created a save zone and he summoned a barrier. The girls were supposed to do a break and were protected by Matthias's barrier. He then wanted to go down to the 25th floor alone. Then Matthias made his way into the deeper floors of the dungeon. On his way down, he gathered useful resources, and he sensed a dungeon boss at a deeper floor. Following this, Matthias jumped deeper into the dungeon, and he immediately encountered many monsters. With his overwhelming power, he defeated the enemy monsters. After that, he located the dungeon boss, and he was attacked by him. The dungeon boss appeared, and Matthias fought the giant arc serpent. The giant serpent could decompose the ground with his own poison, but Matthias wasn't afraid. He was finally happy to fight a strong monster with his newly acquired crest. He then tested his combat specialized crest against the dungeon boss. Matthias wanted to enjoy the fight, and he tried new techniques in the fight against the dungeon boss. Then Matthias used his sword and he slashed the serpent. He didn't die, and Matthias shattered a magic stone, and he combined it with his sword. Then he attacked the snake with a final blow and he caused an earthquake. Then we see demons, who also sensed the huge magic explosion in the dungeon. After that, Matthias returned to floor 10, and he showed the girls his defeated dungeon boss.